Hello, welcome on this beautiful August 15th. Me and Audrey talking, giving you some updates and sharing some of our excitement of how things are coming together for Gathering of Tribes 2024. So, where shall we begin today, Audrey?
I guess a little update on how things are going, maybe good for everyone. We are officially at about 300 committed participants, which is really exciting. We'll probably end up being a group or a collective of between 400 and 500 people, which is, yeah, really beautiful and quite powerful, I think. We wanted to dive today a little bit deeper into the why, but also into setting your intentions and dreaming your activities for the gathering. But before we do that, I want to address a few of the key questions that keep coming back to us, and clarify the space for all of those that may have some confusion. The question that we get the most, I think, is, can I come without a tribe? And how do I choose a tribe? Um, the answer is yes, you can come without a tribe. So if you go on our website, you will see it's really straightforward. You have two options. Either you go through the list of all the camps that have already committed to being at the gathering and you choose the one that resonates the most with you. Or number two, you can also decide to not make a decision and go butterfly. The butterfly is effectively an open camp that doesn't have a theme per se, that does have some level of coordination. And it's the perfect place for all those that are a little bit indecisive or unsure, but that still want to be in the space to join us. Victor.
Yeah, so uh, I wanted to add a little bit because I guess I made the initial name and this whole tribe thing is my fault. And yeah, I mean, let's be honest, it's part of my lifelong inquiry of trying to figure out where the hell I belong and who are my people. Some of you know, I've traveled around, lived in many different places, as have so many of us, and this kind of creates this question of where is my identity? Is it imposed and all of this? But it was always intended that this tribe is a playful thing. It wasn't meant as some kind of a heavy, oh my God, I don't belong anywhere, but as a start of inquiry, right? Of who is my tribe? What does it mean to have a tribe? Do I have a tribe? How do I build a tribe, right? So it wasn't meant like, oh, you don't have a tribe, you don't belong. It was more, you're interested in the question, you would like to find one or explore of what it means. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was, I guess, really, I think it was more from that like childhood reading novels of traditional societies and feeling a degree of romance and aspiration to like, wow, it would be so great to have a tribe. So I always the name was chosen with this kind of childish, playful longing of wow, how great it would be to have a tribe, not with like you're in or out if you don't belong. So yeah, I mean, let's have fun with it.
Thank you for that. Yeah, and just to add very quickly, to me, it raises the question of belonging, which is actually primordial, right? So I consider myself as a pretty tribeless person in that I feel like I belong to a lot of them and I struggle to identify with just one. Yet to come in front of all those themes and all those camps and all those people and all those subcultures and to have to ask myself, well, where do I want to spend my time and who do I want to be with in this process is, yeah, it's just really interesting. Um, okay, beautiful. I think that's it for the key questions. I'll jump over the why, which yeah, obviously is the foundation of everything we do. So as things are coming together and now with over 300 people committed to joining the gathering, we're starting to get a really clear idea, almost a visualization of what the space will look like. And it's looking really exciting. So to reiterate, the gathering is really about bringing together an ecosystem of projects and people reinventing society and responding to the poly crisis with active hope. Those are, yeah, some key values that we hold. And I really see the power of the gathering as the diversity of the spaces and the subcultures that are coming together once every 2 years. I know, Victor, you talk a lot about rituals and about bringing back rituals in our modern life. And for me, the bi-yearly cycle of the gathering is really powerful in that, well, it's a long time. First of all, 24 months, a lot of things happen in 24 months.
You know you're
Um,
still young when 2 years seems like a long time. The older you get, the
yeah.
shorter it gets.
I guess. But I find a lot of beauty in the fact that the ideas that the tribes or the camps or the organizations basically go away for 2 years and really do the work in depth and then come back together every 2 years at the gathering of tribes to establish this width, right? And create this new mosaic, share learnings, bring their struggles, be vulnerable at organizational level, share their successes also and support one another and reinforce this ecosystem of collaboration and this culture of collaboration that we're building. This being said, over to you for setting your intentions and dreaming activities.
Yeah, so a key concept or idea for the gathering is that it's a transformative event for tribes, organizations, communities, villages. There's many great events in the world. You can transform yourself as an individual, but the intention was of how do we transform ourselves as a team or as an organization. So this is one of the lenses and inquiries that we invite you to come with this intention and idea of what can my organization be like after the gathering. So I like to say, ask not what you can do for the gathering, ask what the gathering can do for you, and dream of what kinds, and from that reality, when you imagine the reality of how would my company or my village look like, would it have more people, more supporters? And from that, walk back to think of what are the connections that you want to make at the gathering, what kind of activities that you might want to offer. So think through of what questions you're holding, bring them to the gathering. Think what people you need in order to grow your tribe, grow your company. Is it team members? Is it customers? Is it partners, community members, supporters, elders? Who do you want to connect with and bring into your, and there's many layers, of course. Every organization has many layers, from the core team to the supporters to the community and all of this. And at different stages of growing your organization, your tribe, different layers of the onion are important. So I think a great example of that is it's very important to dog food. By the way, do you know the expression dog fooding, Audrey?
No, I was about to ask.
Ah, interesting. I come from the tech world, so it's used along there, but it must be used somewhere else. So the idea is that you eat your own dog food, which means you use your own product, you use your own idea, right?
Mm.
If you're not using your own product or eating your whatever it is that you're creating, then it's not really honest, right? You're doing it for somebody else, and that means you miss many points. So in this sense, I'm really excited about using the gathering to develop the next stage of the gathering LDA. And I'm kind of to discern in the two. I'm talking about Gathering of Tribes 2024 and the Gathering LDA, which is the company that we've created. So, Audrey, what do you think are some of the key questions that we are holding as the Gathering LDA that we hope that Gathering of Tribes can help us answer?
The big one. Uh, the key one for me, there's a lot, but the key one is around what does it mean really to actively participate in the creation of this ecosystem of collaboration for the regenerative movement? And specifically, what are the formats that we want to explore to bring this forward? Nice. Thank you. Yeah. Um, so So for me, there is obviously, as we all know, there is the Gathering of Tribes 2024 and the big bi-yearly event that brings everyone together. But then I'm really interested, I think both of us are really interested into exploring, okay, what other format would give us different results, right? So for example, what happens if we do a month-long gathering with less people? What happens if we do in-depth 2 or 3 day events? So that's one thing, the formats and the spaces that we create. And then the other thing is around what kind of value can we create or have we already created by connecting with the ecosystem so much? We've done a lot of networking this year. And how can we really harness the patterns that we now have visibility over? So I don't pretend that we can see the system and that we now know all the patterns, but it's true that by speaking to hundreds of people within the same space, we have seen a lot of things emerge, right? There's the same questions that always come back, the same problems that always come back, the same solutions, the things that work also. And I have, yeah, a huge inquiry there around what is that? How do we create value for the system with this knowledge, those patterns, this information, this access to people and to projects? And how do we position ourselves as the Gathering LDA as one of those elements that does the ecosystem weaving? Yeah.
Yeah, so we share this not because we're saying we're inviting you to solve our problems, but as an example of, as an organization, we're coming to the gathering, and first thing we did is we did a question storm of trying to surface of what are the questions that we could hope to invite the participants to answer. And then based on this, we're thinking of what kind of activities we can design to invite people to help us share these questions and to grow ourselves as a team. And actually, I think as a gathering, we need to grow all layers of our onion, from the team to the extended team, supporters, partners, and all of this. So that's just an example of how, as an organization, we can use the gathering as a huge think tank, connecting ourselves more meaningfully, deeper, and in more ways into the ecosystem. There is another example that I'm working on, which is around the regenerative real estate. So in the regenerative real estate, there is a challenge, and we need to flow hundreds of millions, if not billions, into the space. How do we do that? How do we create a way of communicating impact without creating artificial numbers which people game, and yet we can have meaningful conversation about impact across projects, and we can ensure that it ends up in greenwashing. So this is another example, looking at how to boot up a regenerative ecosystem of collaboration. Yeah, so that's the invitation. Think of how you can use, because I know many people are thinking about activities and thinking about it, why to come, what's in it for me. And I think this is a good way of doing it. What is the future that I'd like to see happen? And from that, working back to what needs to happen at the gathering for me, for that future to happen. And of course, it's not that you can design, right? I will meet these people, but luck is preparation meeting serendipity. We have done I think, a great work in inviting serendipity, but for luck to happen, we still all need preparation.
Yeah. And I just want to add something to that, which is, um, I always say it and it feels a bit odd, but use the gathering as an excuse to meet people for whatever. There's many tools that can come after this, but it's linked to what you were sharing earlier about ask what the gathering can do for you. For me, it's again this idea of some people are coming here because they just purchased a piece of land and they want to start an eco village project and they need to build their community, right? And what better excuse to invite their community than to create a camp at the gathering so they can dive deeper into those topics. Some people are coming because they're looking for a co-founder. Great, use the gathering for that. Some people are coming because I don't know, they just arrived in Europe from the States and they want to get plugged into the regenerative ecosystem. That's a huge one. And so on and so forth. So for me, there is also, what excuse does the gathering give you to really bring your agenda forward and to answer your needs of the moment, either individual or organizational? And I think we've seen it in the process. So again, it's like we are the case study for this with the Gathering LDA and the Gathering of Tribes 2024. It's the best way to connect to people is to invite them somewhere. Come to my birthday party, come to this event. And it so happens that the event is beautiful and on a great piece of land with amazing people. But yeah, let's all create excuses so that we can be together, meet, and let serendipity do the work after that.
Beautiful. Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you all in less than a month.
Yeah, 3 weeks for those coming to the builds. See you soon. Thank you.